For this episode of Maniacs of History, we are going to be learning about Rome. Romulus and Remus, the first two emperors of Rome. Let's uh let's see how they got down, man. Let's cause everyone likes Rome. Oh hey! Breed out Minakama. Welcome. Welcome. I hope you like history, because we're here for that. If not, come back in like 30 minutes for my hero. But appreciate having you here. I would pull up the chat, but my phone's been tweaking. But we're just gonna get right into this history lesson, man. Oh, I actually need sound for this. Can we get captions too? Yes, sir. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Oh, we're doing the whole thing? I thought this was just the beginning. I guess we're doing all of. Oh no, this is episode 1. So yes, this looks like the beginning of Rome. 800. Okay, I actually did get the chat up. I like that. Let's do it. Twenty 66th birthday. Whew. I actually been to Rome. I got to go in the Colosseum. I got pictures in there and everything. It's a great time, man. I'll recommend, if you can, go to Italy. It's beautiful. Kind of racist, but I mean, where is it? Where isn't racist? Same. Let's do it. Is that a boar or a pig or a wolf? Romulus and Remus. She wolf. Okay. Oh, is that Lupa? Gasp! That might be Lupa. If you know, you know. Whew. Wow. 59 BC. I need a time machine, yo. I'm trying to see the start of all these places, man. Get true history. Remus, not Ramus. Battle to the death. Uh, I guess that works too. Damn. 12 for 12 Olympian gods? Oh, actually, battle to the death. Or, hold on. He said struck down. Did he die? Did he get hurt? What do you mean struck down? Oh, that looks like death. Damn, poor Remus. Was murder. Oh my gosh. Poor Remus. Yeah, no one's gonna give you their women. I feel like this could just be me, but I think there are more ads when you watch on desktop. I get a lot of ads when I'm watching things on my phone, but it's like every 5 minutes watching on my desktop. They're trying to kidnap him. Yeah. Nothing like throwing a party to kidnap some women, man. Yeah. That's what Rome did. Yeah, they just took anything they wanted. That's how Rome got down, man. What does vagabond mean? I'm gonna Google that real quick because I think there's like an anime called Vagabond. Hopefully, it doesn't mean rapist. Oh no, it just means a wanderer, like a nomad type beat. Bro, my knee hurts so bad. Post hole? It's like a flag post? Like, what's a post hole? Mud hut? Mud hut. So real. So real. As a guy, you need a bed, a TV, and a refrigerator in your apartment. That's about it. Maybe a stove and an oven if you're feeling if you feeling all fancy and rich and whatnot.
Now I can imagine early Rome. A few hundred huts on a hillside, home to 2 or 3,000 people. A modest beginning for a growing civilization. But that would soon change. By 550 BC, 200 years after the foundations, Rome's population was around 30,000 people, spread over 7 hills along the Tiber. It could now call itself a proper city. But there was a problem. A wide area of uninhabitable, stagnant marshland choked the city's expansion. Rome needed a solution.
I'm not trying to pay
To
for
find out what, we
viewers
searched for a part
code.
of Rome most people never get to see.
The viewers are
Underground.
gonna come for the elite content, not because I paid for them.
So here I go. I'm going down into Rome's sewer network.
Whew.
Parts of it are over 2,500 years old, but still in use today. These tunnels carry rainwater and sewage into the River Tiber. They were built by Rome's earliest kings, the successors to Romulus himself.
Hmm. I hope they built some type of filtration system or something.
Sewage start. There was a need of clearing of the marshy waters around the Capitolium and the other hills. So what happened was, first of all, to make an open air channel, and to channel all this water to the Tiber.
For 200 years, Rome's kings extended, repaired, and improved the entire system, until what started out as open channels grew into this complex network of arched tunnels.
That's cool.
Today, no one knows the full extent of the tunnel network, but Adriano and his team of
To this
archaeologists
day,
keep exploring it, walking
how
through the
deep are
sewers
these
like
tunnels?
traveling back in time.
Now I'm trying to go to them. Is it like a tourist spot? Can I go through these tunnels?
It was put on in the time of Hadrian, so roughly the same period that they were building the wall in Britain. They were back here in Rome, putting roots on sewers. Extraordinary people.
So this one's every 7 minutes. So what? We got
We passed through
5
cities
more
built in the time
ads.
of Jesus
That's
Christ.
disgusting.
Then another, even older, constructed under Julius Caesar. Then, at last, the oldest stretch of tunnel, from the 6th century BC. This is it, here we are, right here, the oldest part of the system, and it's absolutely unique and it's never been seen before on television, so there, you're on a first. This tunnel is one of the oldest examples of what became an essential feature of Roman engineering, the arch. So if you just see this here, it's this way they stepped the stones so that it steps and they're cut so that it's one, and then it comes out, then it comes out like that. So you've got the same, they do boom, 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 and then they were covered so that about this height would have been the floor, the basic floor level of the ancient forum. Without this ancient engineering, Rome might never have become a city. But these sewers were built at a terrible human cost by slaves.
Yeah, I was gonna say slave labor. It's always slave labor, man.
To die, building the new stone city.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Marched by slaves, enemy soldiers spared from the
Yep.
battlefield, but marched to Rome to die, building the new stone city.
Yep.
What
It's
we're told
always
is that
slave
they were
labor,
doing the work
man.
of about 1 million slaves, and some of them were preferred in the end to commit suicide
A
rather than leave
million?
them work on this project.
A million is kind of a lot.
The Romans were resourceful and ruthless.
Especially a million
Whatever resource
in
their neighbors had to offer,
what,
they
500
stole or
BC?
cheaply borrowed. They let nothing stand in the way of the city's ambition.
Sorry.
One of the key architects of the new Rome became a notorious figure in the city's history. His name, Tarquinius Superbus, Tarquin the Proud. He was a brilliant engineer, but a ruthless political operator. Now, I'm heading for the very spot where, in 535 BC, he made a bloody grasp for power.
Uh-oh. Assassination attempt?
Staged an outrageous coup against the ruling king, her father, and he was killed in a brutal assassination.
I just wanna harp on that point real quick. Buddy, in a ruthless coup attempt, got bro's daughter to assist him in overthrowing the government. I think this is a lesson for every man watching it. Women will fuck your whole shit up if you let them. Whether it's your girl, your daughter, your aunt, your auntie, be careful. Because if they fall in love with the wrong guy, that wrong guy could lead them into doing some shisty stuff. Women will fuck your whole shit up if you let them.
I'm told that she drove her chariot right across his body as he lay in the street somewhere around here. And ever since, this has been known as the Vicus Sceleratus, the street of wickedness.
She ran over her dad's body with a chair. You're sick. You're sick.
Transform Rome from a settlement of mud huts into a city of stone. Tarquin built one of the biggest buildings in Roman history, dedicated to their supreme god. It was the Temple of Jupiter.
Bro, this place was so beautiful. I forgot that it was one of the places we went until I just saw that. It was so pretty, man.
The temple was as big as a football pitch.
As evil as they are, man, their architecture, they cooked. They freaking cooked.
Turning Tarquin into a figure of hatred. But the signs were that with his giant temple, he'd won the favor of the gods. The story goes that while they were digging their foundations, they came upon a perfectly preserved human head. And they took it as a sign that Rome would become the head of the world. Well, that much may be true, but it wouldn't be ruled by Tarquin, or any other king for that matter. Tarquin was a tyrant. He intimidated Rome's nobles, bullied its workers, and murdered those who disagreed with him.
Yeah?
I want to meet the man who finally gave him his marching orders. This is thought to be the face of Brutus. He is the nephew of King Tarquin, and he would bring an end to the rule of the kings, and he would start a revolution right at the heart of Rome.
How many family members portrayed each other during Rome? Like during the Empire? Ah, that's why. That makes sense. It wasn't when he killed your brother? Tarkin killed bro's brother, but he didn't get mad enough to overthrow him until it involved a woman. Y'all are sick. Y'all are sick people.
Lucretia described how Tarquin's son, Sextus, forced himself upon her. Lucretia refused his advances, but then Sextus threatened to kill her and her male slave. He said he would leave their naked bodies beside each other, making it appear Lucretia had committed adultery. Rather than put shame on her husband and family, Lucretia relented and let Sextus have his way. Brutus listened, horrified.
Okay, never mind, I get it. That's almost as bad as killing your brother.
Brutus and the others can stop her. She plunges it deep into her chest, piercing her heart and ending her life instantly. Now, this is how Livy describes what happened next. Brutus drew out the knife from Lucretia's wound, and holding it up, dripping with gore, he exclaimed, "By this blood, most chaste until a prince wronged it, I swear that I will pursue Lucius Tarquinius Superbus and his wicked wife and all his children with sword, with fire, with whatsoever violence I may, and that I will suffer neither them nor any other to be king in Rome." Brutus was as good as his word. He and his followers drove Tarquin and his supporters out of Rome, and together gave birth to a new ideal, that no king would ever rule Rome again. It became every Roman's duty to defend this founding principle. But, as I'm about to discover, it wasn't long until Brutus himself was forced to choose between his instincts as a father and his duty as a citizen of the Roman Republic.
Call All Good Plumbing today.
At least that means we're getting through it. When we keep getting ads, that means we're getting through it. Yeah, we're at 22 minutes, almost halfway there. Actually, a little more than halfway there. What? Where's my... I would say, yeah, where's my sound?
509 BC. Rome is 250 years old, home to 50,000 people, and on a knife edge. Brutus has overthrown the tyrannical King Tarquin and declared that never again would one man rule Rome.
Roman Republic. Let's get it.
We take away the king. What happens next?
Well, Larry, they clear away the whole political board to start with.
All of them?
All of them. Now, unlike in the game of chess, we need to start with 2 kings. And these guys are called consuls, and these are like the CEOs of Rome.
Nice.
Together, they're going to rule, so they cancel each other out. And each year, they're elected by popular election. So this means that they're accountable to the people and also to their fellow aristocrats.
These twin consuls would govern a new Rome.
So does that mean we're going to stop murdering each other so much?
Latin res publica.
Stop murdering and raping? That'd be nice.
Was an ideal that over the next 500 years would propel Rome from new republic to global superpower. So this was to stop one person having all the power, but presumably within those two there would have been a lot of competition set up, wouldn't there?
Within the Roman political system, within its DNA, is competition. So the elites, right from the time when they're very small, when they're just young boys,
That's how you get the best out of somebody. Always competition.
is that all of these guys are striving
Yes, sir.
than their fellow aristocrats.
So is there any one thing you think that kind of typifies Roman political mentality?
I think in terms of the collective psyche of the Roman people, it's this, a hatred and fear of this man, the king. There could never be another king in the Roman Republic. They would never allow it.
This was the Republican ideal that had to be defended at all costs. And it turned out it was Brutus himself whose loyalty to the new ideal was first to be tested. Within months, the exiled King Tarquin is plotting to seize back power in Rome. Among his fellow conspirators...
Y'all just exiled him? Y'all didn't... What happened to the sword, the fire, and all that?
Brought before him. Brutus is consul of Rome. Will he pardon his sons or execute them in the name of the Republic? Brutus was in no doubt. The culprits were stripped, scourged with rods, and beheaded. While through it all men gazed at the expression on the father's face where they might clearly read a father's anguish as he administered the nation's retribution. I mean, if this is true, and I have to say as a father I find it very difficult to believe, it would at least explain the ruthlessness and the absolute conviction at the core of the new republic.
No? Yeah?
Brutus made it clear that duty to the republics found in principle was more important than his own flesh and blood.
That's hardcore. That's extremely, extremely hardcore.
There was a legacy from Rome's earliest days still to be grappled with. The rift between rich patricians and poor plebeians. I'm heading south to one of the most iconic
Plebeian.
of Roman history.
Pleb. That's
Pompeii.
What is that? The thing in Rick and Morty?
By the ash from a volcanic eruption. Today,
I can't even think of what it was.
to how Rome was at the time of the Republic.
Oh, man.
The buildings here reveal a society.
I gotta go back, man.
Vast villas like this one.
Okay, I know this has nothing to do with our history lesson, but like when I went to Italy, I didn't like. I mean, obviously you know about Rome, like it's freaking Rome, one of the greatest empires ever. But I wasn't really like hardcore into Roman history. I mean, I think I've read Heroes of Olympus by then, so I got like knew about like Roman gods and how the Roman legion was. I might not even known that. But like now, after doing history lessons, everybody talks about Rome. Everybody knows about Rome. I've gotten even deeper into Rome. I know Romulus. I didn't know Remus, but obviously I didn't know Remus because he died like before the thing got started. But I have such more appreciation for like what they did back then, and I got to go back because I've been in the Coliseum. I went to the Temple to Jupiter. I've been in this city, but didn't like really suck in what it was. Because I mean, I'm just what was I, a junior in high school, just going on a trip, trying to flirt with some girls. Like I was in Rome. I got to go back.
Home to Rome's
Got
rich
to go
nobility,
back.
the patricians. The boarders. So, Paolo, would there have been houses just like this in Rome in the early Republic?
The shape of the room is the same as an early Republican house.
Right. That was a standard design,
Was
yeah?
a standard.
I literally been in one of
Called the
these.
domus.
Domus.
Was a private house.
Sheesh.
This was the focus of the house?
This is the center of the house. The most important room is called the atrium. And there were bedrooms all around, with small rooms here.
So who would have been the owner of a home like this? What sort of level in society?
A very high level, of
He
course.
would, yeah?
Yes, the noblest part and the wealthiest part of it is what they call the patrician.
Right. And he would have lived here with just his family?
With his family.
And when I went, there was a freaking peacock outside too. Like,
A slave family could count up to 50 members. Really? Yes, it was very huge.
Why are you not
ooh.
investing?
Why are you? I was about to say something I can't say. YouTube doesn't like that word.
But not everyone enjoyed the luxury of a Roman domus. Right next door, you can see how the other half lived. This family was plebeian and had to make do with life in a single room at the back of their business. In this case, a bar. So, Paolo, would there have been bars like this along all the streets in Rome?
Of course, Rome was crowded with places like this. You have a second room inside, which was actually the house of the family who worked in this bar.
Right. So these were the living quarters.
Yes.
Yeah? Quite a change from
Slave house.
Yes.
So in the big house, there's a family, maybe 5, 6 people, and 50 slaves to look after them. What would this household have composed?
Well,
Oh no,
maybe
these
family,
weren't the slaves. These are just poor people.
all living in one room and working up there.
These two
Gotcha.
houses show just how divided Roman society was, and this division was not just a cultural one, it was enshrined in law. Obviously, Republican Rome's a very complicated society, but just
So, like,
explain the difference.
any historians watching this, if you made it this far, first like the video, sub to the channel if you're new, follow the channel if you're seeing this on Twitch. But a reoccurring theme in like every super powerful nation I've ever heard of is a stark class divide. Has there been any extremely powerful, extremely successful egalitarian society like ever? I've never heard of one. And if you know of one, leave a comment because I would love to do a Maniacs of History episode on that because I've never heard of one. I don't think it's possible, but I'd love to be proven wrong. So, if you got something I can look into, I'm gonna look into it myself, try and do some research. But if you know one off the top of your head, let me know, and we'll listen to it, learn about it together.
Between the patricians and the plebeians.
The patricians were the aristocracy of Rome. They were the members of the noblest families, and the plebeians were not. The plebeian, they could not marry a patrician. They could not have commerce with a patrician.
Real,
They could not be
real,
neither magistrate nor judges. They had to vote,
real.
but their political influence was nothing.
They had to vote,
They had to vote, yes.
Right. So they, as a plebeian, had to vote for a patrician to run their lives.
Imagine.
Rich, poor.
Wow.
Ancient Rome was as unequal as any modern city. And as a Londoner myself, I have no trouble imagining struggling families living cheek by jowl with the well-to-do. I'm beginning to realize that the noble principles of Brutus and the founders of the Republic were just that, noble, designed by the nobility for the nobility. And of course now, we have
As every society that I know of has been.
that something's going to have to give.
Because, like, think about it, right? Whether it's right or wrong, imagine you struggle and fight and build and grind to build a society. You're going to build it for you and your people, right? Like, that makes sense. If I'm in power and I got to do all this, I'm going to look out for people like me. Yeah, if we have some leftovers, we're gonna maybe help the other people if we're feeling nice. But as you see, they're mass murderers and rapists. I don't think they feel nice very often. So, like, if you build a strong society, what is the incentive for it to be egalitarian other than, it's the right thing to do? Outside of that, like, is there really any? Who can say?
The plebeians had no
Other than
choice
history, because, like, no one's ever done it to my knowledge.
were the lifeblood of the Roman
I'm sure
Republic.
somebody's done it. They probably just got clapped by somebody else more
Of the
powerful
land.
and got taken
And
as
in
slaves and
times of war,
hostages.
were expected to abandon their farms and fight. But
Wait,
many
I'm sorry. What are we doing?
they farmed with the lifeblood of the real power, yet represented over 80% of the population, and with the
Yep.
lifeblood of the Roman Republic.
20% get 80% of the
Of the
wealth.
land. And in
80%.
times of war,
80% of the
they were
people get
expected to abandon their
20% of the
farms and
wealth.
fight. But
80-20 rule.
battle-weary plebs returned to find their land taken over by rich patricians.
Imagine.
Finally,
I go to war for you, I come back and you took my farm? That's insane.
in 494 BC, an old man appeared at the Forum. He was thin, dirty, and dressed in tattered rags. He was soon recognized as a former soldier renowned for his bravery who returned to find his home ransacked. As he began to tell his story, a crowd gathered around him. As a soldier, the man had fought hard for the Republic, but now his farm was destroyed. He was broke. He could no longer pay his taxes and was forced to borrow money he couldn't afford to repay. He'd been carried off by his creditor, not to slavery, but to the prison and the torture chamber. He then showed them his back, disfigured with the welts of recent scourging. Now, this single incident sparked off a shockwave of outrage that spread through the city like wildfire.
Started a rebellion?
The class was threatening to leave Rome and establish a city of their own.
Oh, yeah.
It was more than a general strike. Plebeian workers and tradesmen actually shut up shop and abandoned Rome.
Woohoo!
Watched in horror as their
Love when weak people use their power to shake things up.
And as you'd expect from the practical
Riot and rebellion. I love it.
was a revolutionary new set of laws called the 12 Tables.
There are very few things that get me moved like mutiny. I love mutiny, man.
The Romans' Ep4 legal code.
So it's a sort of Bill of Rights, is it?
The critical thing is that what it's doing is writing down and setting out very publicly what your position in law is, what the rules are for society.
The laws were written by a council.
I can't read that.
Around 450 BC.
I don't know what that says.
Study the laws, discuss them with their families, and to suggest refinements.
So, Christopher, could you give us just a sort of an idea of the range of things that these covered?
So one of the things that is protected here is not being defrauded, not being taken advantage of by somebody that you're in a relationship with. And we recognise that. If you're employed by somebody, that shouldn't tip over into an exploitative relationship. Some of them are about crimes that are perhaps a little more unusual to us. So, for instance, what happens if I cast a magic charm on your crops and your crops all die?
Good question. So in terms of the struggle between the rich and the poor, what sort of a solution did this present?
Imagine getting sued because someone suspects you
Relations between two groups in
put a curse on their crops.
find themselves in opposition to each other. And this is one of the ways in which that opposition begins to dissolve, because it gives a very clear statement of process, of penalty, which can't be tampered with by a rich person. These are fixed, so that you know what to expect if you get into trouble.
Within weeks, the 12 Tables ended the strike in Rome, and the plebeians marched back into the city. This newly united Rome was represented by...
My headphone is slowly dying. SPQR!
Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and the people of Rome. You see that sign all over the city.
Ah, man.
Brand of Rome.
I know that.
Rich and poor under one common cause, the Republic. Rome's internal conflict was resolved, and the senators and people of Rome now looked beyond their city. They eyed up their enemies and prepared to take their first decisive steps towards building an empire.
There's nothing that brings people of a nation together like going to war. Like, if you could find an enemy, because if you have no enemies, then you become each other's enemy. I don't know what it is about human nature. It might just be the animalistic nature, the other side of us, like the the biological side, not the psychological side, but like our primitive nature always looks for danger, looks for enemies. And if you don't have like a real enemy, you're gonna find one, whether it be in your day to day life, like your boss may become your enemy if you don't have something you're actively fighting against. So one thing, if you ever in the if you're ever ruling a nation, as much as anti-war as I am, I hate war, don't think people should be dying. If you ever are leading a nation, you have revolts, just go to war with somebody, man. Everybody's gonna get together, and all the patriotism is gonna flow right through them. United States government, if you are listening, please do not take that. Please do not take that literally. We don't need to be in any more wars because we don't fight them, so it's not gonna work. We have other people fight them, so it's that's not gonna work for us.
SPQR. The Senate.
And also, I don't want to fight anymore. So, if you thought like, hey, maybe we should start fighting our wars, don't do that either. Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that either. No wars. No wars, please.
How 300 years after its foundation, these four letters unified Rome, so that by around 450 BC, the Republic's power and influence rivaled that of the Etruscans, their greatest foe.
Who's the
The
Etruscans?
Etruscans predated the Romans.
I never heard of the Etruscans.
They were also ambitious, and the two sides had fought running battles for centuries. But now Rome was spoiling for a fight. There was only the river Tiber separating these two civilizations, with Rome and the Latins controlling the east and the Etruscans controlling the west. So a flashpoint was bound to occur. It was inevitable. But
Now I need to learn about the Etruscans.
Decisive move. For hundreds of years, the Romans had been asking that question, or rather, they'd been asking the heavens, which is why I want to explore the ancient Roman tradition of augury, the art of reading signs from the gods.
Don't you read intestines?
Rome, the city first founded on a divine blessing. Historian Darius Aria is taking me to the Auguraculum, a holy site where Romans practiced the mysterious art of augury, which, as well as bird spotting, included sacrificing animals to study their internal organs.
Yeah.
Rome is on the brink of war. They need divine approval. How do they know they've got it?
Well, that's a great question. Now,
You gotta open a random animal.
in knowledge of the various
Was it a random animal, or is there a certain animal they
a
use?
little bit of a guide, and this is a schematic of a bronze liver from Piacenza that was found. So basically, it's sectioned off. So you've got all the major gods going around the edges, and then you've got a further subdivision with lesser gods. You open up the animal, and they step in, and they take the liver, and they kind of parse it out. And if there's any kind of say deviation from the standard, oh my God, that's a really huge gallbladder. Well, that could be a kind of clue to you what a particular god is feeling or thinking, and who you have to then further appease. Now, if you don't get the answer or you don't like the results, you can sacrifice another animal.
Imagine you just kill a sick pig,
Yes.
and his liver's kind of messed up, and now you're thinking the gods are talking to you.
450 BC, the gods told the Romans to go for it.
But at the same time, like,
The Etruscans. But
Rome was the greatest empire ever. Maybe they were right. Maybe they were right.
to guarantee victory, the Republic turned to the policy they designed for just such a situation. They would nominate a dictator. For a power founded on the principle that no one man should ever rule, it seems remarkable now to appoint a dictator. But this was an extraordinary measure for use in extraordinary circumstances. The man they chose was Marcus Furius Camillus, a trusted statesman given a daunting task to destroy the Etruscans' major stronghold, the city of Veii. In 396 BC, Camillus led a great army across the Tiber to lay siege to the city. 2,500 years later, I've traveled to the same spot in the hill country outside Rome to discover what happened to Camillus and his army.
Man.
The archaeology shows one thing clearly. The battle was huge.
Yo.
All these artifacts were found here.
There's no way, right?
Yes, they were, and most of them are evidence.
I think I went there too. You're lying.
Wonderful projectiles.
They're so heavy.
They're so heavy, they're lead.
They're lead.
They're lead, yes.
So what would these have been fired like bullets from a sling or something?
Yeah, exactly. They were thrown. We do have different types.
They're just picking up some lead rocks and just throwing them at each other. Oh man, I wonder what the world was like before guns. I'm sure it was a great place.
Spent ammunition covers nearly 500 acres, the sign of a massive, drawn-out campaign, during which
I think,
covers nearly 500 acres,
yo,
the sign of
I think I have a picture on this hill, bro. I dead think I took a picture standing on this hill. And I didn't realize. Gosh. Ah! Such a privileged young man who didn't understand the history of. Wow, this is actual tear in my eye. I don't know if it's because my eye's irritated or if I'm just that mad I missed out on this opportunity. Like, I didn't even miss out on it. I was there. I stood on. Wow. And I didn't realize that this was not the birthplace of. Well, yeah, because I mean, this Rome was just a city before that. This is when they became an empire, and I stood on this hill, and I have a picture on this. Wow,
during which
that's
Camillus needed to keep his
insane.
troops motivated. Up until
I
now,
hope it
the
wasn't
Roman
that
army
hill.
was
Maybe it's
expected
an
to
identical hill. That's what I'm gonna tell myself. It was an identical hill that kind of looks like
offer a
that.
financial incentive to his men as well as a share of the spoils. And after a decade, his radical plan finally paid off. The dictator saw that victory was at last within his grasp, and that a city of great wealth was on the point of being taken, with booty more than if all previous wars had been put together. So, not only were they getting wages for the first time, but Camillus was offering his men a share in the greatest haul of war booty Rome had ever seen. Now that was certainly going to get the boys fired up.
Oh yeah, nothing gets the boys fired up like some war booty, man. You take some war booty home. I don't know a guy who wouldn't be excited about that.
If only they could find a way in. But 10 years after they'd arrived at Veii, Camillus' army was still outside the walls laying siege to the city. Until, according to Livy, they made an extraordinary breakthrough.
Oh yeah,
This
can dig some tunnels.
This is an underground structure which the University of Rome discovered 3 years ago.
This tunnel could prove an ancient myth is true. Livy describes how Camillus' men desperately searched for a way into the city and got lucky when they found a tunnel all the way to the city's temple. Hundreds of Roman soldiers scrambled in and lay in wait. Then, out of the blue, a sign from the gods. The sound of the Etruscans making a sacrifice. As they were hiding there, they heard a priest talking to the king of the Etruscans. As the king of the Veientes was sacrificing, the Roman soldiers in the mine overheard the soothsayer declare that to him who should cut up the innards of that victim would be given the victory. The Romans in the tunnel grabbed their chance, burst into the temple, seized the sacrificial innards, and carried them off to their dictator Camillus. He took this as the blessing Rome needed. Camillus ordered a full-scale assault
Wow.
and obliterated their oldest foe.
Wow.
Civilization was doomed, and Rome left them a forgotten people, whilst the Republic marched on.
I gotta go back and find that picture, man. There's no way I was on that hill.
Would impose divine will all over the known world, as they became the world's first superpower.
Ah!
My journey continues to Africa, as I discover how the Republic took to the waves to build an empire, face down its greatest enemy, Hannibal, and wipe out an entire civilization.
Man. There's nothing that gets me hyped like Rome, man. Just hearing about a great empire doing great empire things, man. Rome got down. There was a lot of morally, even say morally gray is just wrong. It was just some straight up bad things they were doing. There was some nasty work. However, they're the greatest to ever do it. They are the GOAT. I hate to say it. We might be the GOAT. We might be the GOAT. We're in contention. It's us to them. we should have done Britain a long time ago. We kicked them out of that conversation. So it's either us or Rome. Is top one empire ever. But man, they was on a different type of timing, man. They was on a different timing. I really enjoyed that. If you guys would like to see the turn of Rome to Christianity, tune in. Probably not next week. If we just did Rome, we're probably not gonna do two back to back Romes. I'm gonna switch it up with something for next week. But we're definitely gonna do it Dicilius. That's not his name, but it's something like that. Diocletes. Diocletes? I forgot what his name was already. But we're gonna do him and Constantine, see what they were doing. They turned Rome from pagan to Christianity. Probably also gonna do the fall of Rome. I think everybody knows about the fall of Rome, so we don't really. We might get into that just for some similarity purposes. But man, yeah, if y'all enjoyed this, make sure you like the video. If you made this far, I really appreciate you. You're the people we do this for, because learning is fun, streaming is fun, but getting to know that people are learning things, they're having good times, staying for the entire thing. This was a long one. This was definitely a long one. So if you make this far, I really appreciate you. And tune in next week to figure out who we're gonna learn about next. But I'll catch you on the flip side. Y'all be safe. Y'all be easy. Peace out.